little background, making sure you got, this should all be review. Okay, so that's why it was just given to you this way. So let's start. Questions on rewriting. So 1 through 6. Yeah.
So for like example number 6, would we group them together or separately?
We would group them together. So I guess two different ways you could write number 6. You know, the thought is you're repeating this. Repeated multiplication is a power. You're repeating it 4 times. So you could write it like that. Now, if you wrote it like this and actually expanded it out like that, that would have been fine as well. So either that or that is fine. The point is to see that you're multiplying it 4 times. Okay? Any other questions 1 through 6? Rafi?
On one's like number 2, so you have -4, then you have a parenthesis in the 6. Would you put the exponent inside that parenthesis or outside of it?
It doesn't matter, just as long as the -4 is here, right? So if you put -4 times 6 and 1, 2 is how many times?
Or 8.
8 times. You put the 8 right there. Okay, if you put parentheses like that, that's fine as well. Okay, the thing you could not do is put parentheses around the -4 because the -4 is not being raised to the 8. But if you just write it like that there, that's fine as well. Just remember that the number the power is attached to is what's being raised to that power, unless you have parentheses. If I put parentheses around them both, then it would be -4 to the 8th and 6 to the 8th. Good, other questions? So either of those is fine. Jaden?
Okay, so like number 4,
Uh-huh.
we write like not in parentheses -b to the 3rd.
Yeah, you guys, since this is the same as having -1 times b right there, so that would be negative and b to the 3rd,
Okay, good.
or b to the 3rd.
Because I wasn't
You-
sure if
oh.
you would keep it.
Yeah, or you could put it like this. Understand, if you see this, this still means -1 times b to the 3rd. It does not mean -b times -b times -b. Okay, now I see about half of the eyes paying attention. This will be a mistake a lot of you will make. It's a really good question. This is the correct form for that, as is this. This right here is not the correct form, because that's saying -b times -b times -b. This is saying b times b times b times -1. Okay, we don't show the 1 there, but it's kicking back out there like that. The form you'll see it the most in is the -b to the 3rd, like that. This is wrong for that one. Okay, good question. Alyssa?
Can you write it -b and then parentheses b parentheses squared?
No. You'd want to write it, you mean -b times b squared.
Like that.
Yep, like that.
Yeah.
Technically, that's the same thing. It's just you were trying to we're trying to put this repeating b in here.
Okay.
So we haven't quite simplified it all the way. Okay, so we want to go a little further with that one. Other questions there? 1 through 6. Okay, 7 through 14. Evaluate, you're just coming up with our answer there. Notice this is -5 times -5. All right. Make sure when you put it into a calculator, if you type -5 times or -5 squared, you put parentheses around that negative and square it on the outside. Otherwise, it's going to give it. It's going to give you -25 right there. So we know it's positive 25. Okay. 15 through 22. Okay, 23 through 28. Lily.
What are the instructions even asking?
Yeah, because
Okay, so yeah, the equations 23 through 28 model the growth of a quantity y over a certain number of intervals for each equation. Okay, so they should probably say like evaluate it. That's really what it's asking. So in other words, multiply this out.
okay.
Oh, right.
Okay, So you guys, the big key right here, is students don't follow the order operations. A lot of students will go 26 times 1.25 to the third. And order operations say parentheses, then exponents. So we actually do 1.25 to the third times 26. Make sure you do that power first and then multiply by 26. Good question. Other questions on those? Sounds like most of us didn't do them because they goofy instructions. How about 29 through 34? Nearest hundredth is how many decimal places? 2. The number 100 has 2 zeros, so it's 2 decimal places. It's a good way to think of it. So if I said the nearest 10,000, how many zeros are in 10,000? 4. Therefore, 10,000ths is 4 decimal places. Okay. How about 36 through 38? Madison?
It's back from 23 through 28. The rest of them said to round to the hundredths. So would you want us to do 23 through 28?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to the 100th here. Yeah, good question. Round to the hundredths on those. Or I would even be fine with the 10th there. I'm more concerned that you're doing the order operations. That's my main worry on these. Okay. 36 through 38. 39 through 46. How many made it through 39 through 46? Okay, so we're good on those. Just plugging 3 in for x. Once again, doing the order operations. Okay, other side. I know a lot of us may not have made it here. These are big deals. These are all of your properties of exponents. You guys, we don't hit them again. So it's expected that you understand the properties of exponents. So a quick review on properties here. And I'm going to just use a. A to the 0. This has nothing to do with the assignment other than you're going to have to apply these rules up here. Anything to the 0 is 1. A negative, 1 over a to the first. So another way to think, if you had a to the negative second, that would be 1 over a to the second. If you have a to the negative second over b to the negative fourth, that is, this part moves up, this part moves down. This is b to the fourth over a squared. Okay? So there's 3 different examples there. Now here we just write that 1 over a. We wouldn't put the 1 there, but how many remember those rules? Okay. Those of you here this summer, this is a lot of these rules we covered this summer. Okay, if we have a to the second times a to the third, that is a to the 2 plus 3, which is a to the 5th. Thank you, Hannah. We had a to the second divided by a to the 5th. Okay, that is a to the 2 minus 5, which is a to the negative third, which is 1 over a to the third. Okay, the other way to think of this one, and a lot of you would think of it this way, in fact, this is the way I think of it. I just look at it and I go, where do I have more A's? Where are there more? Bottom. By how many more? 3. So you end up with 3 on the bottom and just a place value holder on top. Okay, that's the other way to think about it. You can just reduce it like that. Okay, so we have a bunch of rules. Not quite done with them, but trying to go through them here. Any questions up to there? If you're multiplying the same base, you add the powers. You're dividing the same base, you subtract them. Those should all be review. In fact, we're just doing them in algebra right now. If we have a to the second all to the fourth. That actually means you have a squared times a squared times a squared times a squared. So you really have a to the eighth. You're multiplying. Okay? So another way to think about that, let me actually write that. That's 2 times 4, which is a to the eighth. So if you can't remember, just write it out in expanded form. You could say a squared times a squared times a squared times a squared. Okay, if I have a to the second over b to the third, all to the fourth, that is a to the eighth over b to the 12th. You've got it like distributing it. And something that's kind of related to that, if you had AB to the fifth, that actually means A to the fifth, B to the fifth. Okay, so a different problem, obviously, but. Tyler.
Can you go through number 60 real quick?
I will go through questions up there here in a minute for sure. Do we have all the rules down? I got to make sure that I think there's so many properties. I've got them all up here if you didn't get them all, but they're up here. I think I did everything I need to. Okay, so number 60, really quick. I'll even go really slow. Okay, so number 60, there's two ways to think about it. You could think about it as since this is a negative exponent and this is a fraction in here, I could just start by flipping the fraction and that becomes positive exponent. So one way to think about it is just going, well, that's just y over x all to the 6th power. It makes it positive. The other way to think about it is to distribute that, which is x to the negative 6th over y to the negative 6, which you end up then changing it to, you move this one down and this one up. Okay, because they're both negative, so it's x to the 6th over y, or excuse me, y to the 6th over x to the 6th. Well, that is a really ugly answer there. Let's do that again. Okay, so if you distribute x to the negative 6, y to the negative 6, which becomes y to the 6th over x to the 6th. Okay.
And also do 65.
65. Everyone good on this one before I move past it? Okay. 65. 65, we're going to bring that negative 2 in to each part. That's 3 to the negative second, c to the negative second, which gives me 1 over 3 squared and 1 over c squared, which is, when we multiply fractions, just multiplying straight across, that's 1 over 9c squared. Once again, the other way to do it is just initially recognizing that's a negative 2 and flipping it first. That then gives you 1 over 3c quantity squared, which also brings you to this answer by distributing or bringing in that 2. Okay. You guys, there's such a variation of level in this class right now. Some of you are like, this is like utterly boring. I remember it all. I get it. I've done it before. I'm fine with it. And some of you are going, I kind of remember doing this in algebra. And some of you are going, I remember it a little from algebra. I don't remember it all, but I remember doing a little this summer because you're here in the Math Academy. Okay. No matter where you're at, you have to ask questions if you don't understand it. Otherwise, I'm expecting you know this material before we start chapter 7. Okay? Other questions on those, if you've got to them. I'll also ask questions tomorrow, more in a general sense, but any other questions on those? 69 through 80? Okay, well let me do one that I think some students might mess up on. 63. Everyone do that one. Okay, go ahead and show your neighbor your answer. Okay, now here's my answer. This right here is a negative exponent, therefore it moves down. Does the end of the 6th move up? No, you do not flip the fraction. You just move the negative portion, the one with the negative power, down or up. In this case, end of the 6th is already positive. It stays there. M to the 5th moves down, and place value holder on top is 1. Now, you usually write that alphabetically, but there we go. Okay? How many got it? Okay, we're going to do one more that I think students mess up on, number 62. Give that one a shot. Okay, show your neighbor. All right, making it into a fraction. What moves down? Okay, that moves down. That moves down. Does the 10 move? No, the 10 is not being raised to a negative second, only the a. The 10, in order for the 10 to be raised to the negative second, you'd have to have parentheses around it. So if you move the 10, you're making the mistake, a common mistake. Okay, so we'd have 10 on top, a squared on bottom, b to the 6th on bottom. Okay, questions there? All right, so that's exponent review. I'll ask questions on it again tomorrow. It'll be due on Friday, scored up on Friday. Okay? All right, very good. We will score it as a class, but